All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us again tonight as we continue on the 2026 Montana Armbender Series. Joined with us tonight is Corey Flash Miller and Leif Sorensen. Now, this is going to be a best of five right-handed match, and it's going to be a David versus Goliath match, no weight cap. So this is pretty exciting. And the sponsor for this match is Club Dauntless. The owner, Devin Bear, put down the money to make this match happen. So big shout out to him. Big thanks to him if you're in the northern Wyoming area and you're looking for a place to train, definitely check out Club Dauntless. So before we get into the super deep questions, just starting with you, Corey, if you want to let everyone who's watching know how long you've been pulling, where you're from, and why you wanted to take this match, what made it interesting to you?
From Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've been arm wrestling for 23 years now. Started in April of 2003 when I was 17. And anyone who knows me, they just know that I'll pull basically anybody. I don't really care about weight or anything like that. It's arm wrestling, so it's just what I do. But I haven't been in talks with Josh for quite some time now about different matches, and certain things never lined up. And he was always trying to find me the person to pull, and I was like, dude, I'll pull literally anyone. I don't care. So he's like, well, I'll find you someone. I'll find you someone. And I think there was like two different guys that he had at one time, and then something happened, and next thing you know, I think it was February of last year. He called me and he asked me to. He's like, do you pull anyone? It doesn't matter what they weigh or anything. I was like, dude, I told you that 3 or 4 different times. I don't care. I'll pull whoever. He's like, okay, well, I'll give you a match in February next year. And I'm like, all right, fine. At the time, I didn't even know it was Leaf. I knew it was somebody. I think I found out it was Leaf. I want to say like 4 months ago or something, 5 months ago. I don't something like that. But up until then, I had no idea. I just knew that I was supposed to be in Montana in February. Um,
Right.
and funny enough, I have pulled Leaf once before at a tournament in Montana that I just randomly had a chance to go to. I I shouldn't even have been at that tournament. I had pulled a week and a half before that, and the kids wanted to go, and my girls arm wrestle, so I only ended up going there because they wanted to arm wrestle, and it was close by. And then my dumbass pulls every weight class I can pull, so that was fun. And I got beat on by almost everybody, but yeah. So that I've actually experienced Leaf. I would say Leaf was significantly smaller then, uh, but um, but yeah, I'm excited for the match, and um, the idea that he is a lot bigger and stronger now. And I've known a couple of people who have pulled him recently and said he is a lot stronger than he was before. So that makes it a little more exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah, definitely. You have a lot of history in the sport, and you're known as a giant killer, and you've kind of been almost famous over the years in your career of, like you said, just pulling every single weight class and winning, if not podiuming, and pretty much every time you go throughout all the weight classes. So this is definitely just kind of like a something that you're very used to,
Yeah.
even though some people might see it as an out of the ordinary match. But I think these type of matches are exciting for that reason because arm wrestling is one of the few strength sports where the size isn't as big of a difference or as big of a difference maker as it would be in other sports. So it leads to just a really exciting prospect, I think. And same question over to you. How long have you been pulling? Where you're pulling out of, and what made you excited for this match or want to take this match?
I've been pulling professionally in competitions for 6 years only. Been barroom pulling a lot before that for money and beers and dumb shit like that. But out of Malta, Montana, training here once a week, pretty much every week. Corey, I have a lot of respect for Corey. I've looked up to him for a while. Before I started pulling professionally, I watched a lot of his videos and him beating up on people. So, of course, I've heard of him, and he is a legend, and I want to pull the best. And I don't think weight makes that big a difference, honestly. I've beat 400-pound guys, and I've been beat by 150-pound guys. So I don't know. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. It's just more of a technique thing. And I pretty much know who the better arm wrestler is, so my game plan is just to be strong. So we'll see if it works.
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. I think that Corey definitely is a legend. Everyone in North America definitely knows him. We do have a lot of new up and coming guys who are, just getting to learn and see a lot of the legends that are coming into, or as they're coming into the sport. And so I think it's really cool that now the arm benders gotten to the level that we have people like Corey Miller, and we have Sandra Settis, Adam Warzinski, Jordan Sill, all these guys coming in. And it's really cool because we get to see how we stack up against them, and it gives us a cool measuring stick to go off of. But as we kind of get into the actual matchup itself, I wanted to say, I've talked to so many different people about this match, and in almost all the interviews I do, we end up talking about this match because I feel like for a lot of us, it's really really hard to predict because. A lot of us here in Montana have pulled you, Leif, and we know that you're just extremely strong. You're really hard to deal with, especially like in the strap. And, a lot of us hold you in really high regard. And a lot of people who've come from out of states hold you in really high regard, once they get to experience pulling you and to get across the table from you, because you haven't had as much opportunity to travel out as some of us. So I think it's really cool getting to see this match. But again, it's so hard just because of Corey's level and Corey's experience and the caliber of opponents he's faced. You can never count out someone. Again, it's hard to see just because the size and the strength, but Corey just has this way of like being able to find ways to get in there, get in someone's fingers, get them to the pad.
Very applies. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think again, this is a super excited. Like this is a one that it was so hard for me to call. It was the only match I think I had on there's in my mind as a like 50-50 because I could see, it's like outside the strap. Like I could see Corey just, getting a flash pin, like what he's known for. But like anyone who gets tied up to you, I have a hard time seeing them, just being able to go through you super easy. And I'm sure Corey has his own thoughts on that. So I guess, Corey, I want to go over to you and just from what you remember from pulling a Leif in the past and just what you've seen and heard about him coming up to this, what's your kind of general thoughts on the matchup? Do you think you just have a little bit too much experience, too much versatility, and the strength's not really going to matter? Obviously speed, or do you think there's more to it than that?
Well, funny enough, I tried to gain as much weight as I possibly could, so I hit I think 180 yesterday. So that was a good number for me. All jokes aside, there. No, I've been talking to a lot of guys who have pulled him recently. Everyone knows I do a lot of research on people beforehand, and I had pulled him once before, but he's changed slightly from what he used to pull like. But I've been talking with those guys, and from the experiences they've had, they've all said that he is significantly stronger than he used to be.
Yes.
And he was strong before, the last time he pulled. So I know strength's going to be a problem, but strength only becomes a problem if you let it become a problem. And it's not that I'm not strong because I feel like I'm actually pretty strong right now. I just pulled twice in a row. I pulled I pulled like 3 hours in Cody with every single guy I can imagine. And then I pulled Illinois State and pulled with a bunch of people there. And my right arm right now, my left arm feels like dog shit, but my right arm feels like probably the strongest it's felt in quite a while. And what's weird is that I'm smaller than I'm usually. Barely hitting 180. So I think speed has always been a key to success in the past, and so no one can ever take that lightly, which is always makes me dangerous. But the strength I feel right now is a little bit different than I have felt in quite some time. Um, It normally it's my arm that is strong, and so I can lock up and move people around with my arm. More recently than not, my hand and wrist has been stronger, which is odd because I felt not out of lines with certain people that I normally would have been drug across the table or broken back a little bit and then have to use my arm power to pull them across. So I think that's going to help out quite a bit, especially considering the last time I pulled. It was, I believe, the last time I pulled, with both times we ended up in the strap, and I think I won. Yeah, I think I won the one, but the biggest thing was outside the strap. I couldn't we hit the same time, and I couldn't really control his hand too much because he was coming outside too much. But more recently than not, I've been having an easier time with that issue. So yeah, the funny part is the people I've talked to told me that I should pull him in the strap because they think it'll be easier, which is funny because I was like, I don't know. I mean, it seems if you're telling me he's stronger, typically being stronger, it means strap is not a good idea. But yeah, no, I think my speed has never gone away. It never will go away. If I fire off and I find the spot, then that's a done deal. But the strength in my hand and wrist right now is probably where I'm gonna dedicate most of this match to. And I feel like that if I can dominate that one area, the strength goes away dramatically.
Yeah.
And specifically keeping him away from the strap, which I know most people are telling me to stay in the strap with him, which is just seems bonkers. But if it goes to the strap, it goes to the strap, and that's fine too. But yeah, it's not my typical going into a match. I normally feel like I have to do certain things, and this time I feel like the hand and wrist is more important than anything.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part in arm wrestling, the longer I'm in the sport, I think that the hand and wrist is one of the keys. Like people who I feel like I have a much stronger hand than, like all of a sudden I feel like I look and feel fast because it's like, okay, now I have enough hand to get exactly what I want, and or if it's a really fast opponent, if you have enough hand, you can kind of block a little bit of what they're doing. But I'm also wondering too if some of these, strength unlocks that you're experiencing right now and also having to deal with an opponent like Leif who's just known for being just super statically powerful, is due to the fact that you're kind of consistently pulling with one of the biggest, largest, strongest human beings on the planet right now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that has something to do with it, at least a little bit.
Yeah. Brian's hand and not his wrist, but his ability to clamp is, I will say, the strongest I've ever felt in arm wrestling. There is not a single person that I feel that can clamp down and basically like a pinch grip more than him. And he can lock it up so hard that it hurts. And like the match training him for the match with Brandon, it was all about clamping down and holding that thumb. And there was many times where I felt like my thumb was probably going to break. I felt like he was just going to squeeze it so hard and he's twisting so hard that it's going to break. But just overall power, though, Brian is very, very strong. He still has mechanical things and one-offs there. But yeah, training with him has been good. Just learning stuff from him, learning the way he does things, and then trying to show him how to do arm wrestling. It definitely helps. And it's kind of given me some more motivation with doing certain hand things that I never used to do. Because Brian is known for his hands. He's super strong in the hands and wrists, but arm wrestling movements and all that kind of stuff, he is not there yet. And he's getting there. And we're actively training for Leonidas right now. And we've done multiple videos and everything else. And when I can't get down there, I do video visits with him. But yeah, taking some of what he does and what I do and kind of blending it, it definitely is helping. Definitely helping.
Yeah, I can't see how it wouldn't be, especially again, just going into what's, a lot of people are considering a power matchup for you. So yeah, I definitely thought that was an interesting point and, to bring in for this match. And then Leif, I just wanted to kind of ask the same thing, just you have experience pulling Corey, you've seen him, there's just probably literally thousands of matches, you could find. So, and probably finding someone that's almost exactly built like you or pulling Corey's just pulled everybody. So just, coming into this match, like, where's your head at? I know you said earlier you're just focusing on getting strong, but, is there like any stylistic points that you're like more kind of trying to drill certain areas you're trying to stay away from? And, just your general thoughts going into this.
Well, the biggest thing is I'm trying not to overtrain. I feel like I'm very classic. I almost enjoy the training part of this the most. I can beat myself up a lot in the gym. I have a gym in my basement that I lock myself. I'm having bad days or bad months or bad years, and so trying to stay healthy. In matches in the past, I've tried to bring weak spots up, and I've kind of went away from that. I'm just making my strong spots stronger. Just kind of going back to what I used to do, just hand and wrist and going sideways. That's my move. I'm a one trick pony. I'm not very technical. I'm just going that way. So, but yeah, I think a lot of it's just health for me. If I feel good, if my elbows and my hand and wrist feel good, I have a lot of confidence of going to the pad. If I got a little aches and pains, I might have a little hesitation or something. So I'm just trying to stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me, I think, for myself.
Is there anything specific you're doing or that you feel like is even possible to do to try to prepare yourself for the speed, ways to kind of get in there a little quicker, a little sooner,
Yeah.
or just ways to react a little faster?
Yeah. We'll see if this is going to work, but I'm fighting speed.
Okay.
Right. And everybody asks me what my first thing is going to be. And I'm like, I'm going to go fast sideways. And everybody keeps asking me, what are you going to do if that doesn't work? I'm like, try it again. We'll see. I'm excited for it. I'm confident, but it just depends on which version we can show up. We'll
Right.
see. I actually like grip with Corey. I feel like we kind of grip up the same way. I don't ever feel too uncomfortable with him, but we'll see.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes just knowing yourself and knowing exactly what you want to do and focusing on that is like one of the best things you can do as an arm
Yeah.
wrestler. Sometimes I do feel like people, especially, um, at certain junctures of their career, try to focus too much on trying to be good at everything.
Yeah.
And I think it slows down their overall progress a little bit more than just like leaning into just what they're really good at. Cause it's like, if you're Corey and you're a hitter and you're good at just hitting people and going sideways super fast, then I'm sure that there's, you probably want to lean into that because, that's probably the bulk of your wins. But I want to say too, one thing that's really cool, with Corey coming into this is, you have that really awesome database, the Ares system. And one of the things that the producers did for the show is they put up that, chart of everyone's wins, losses, and then their percentages. And it's like you have like plus 1,000 and then like double digit losses. And it's like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, I have more matches than every single person on the card combined.
Yeah. And there's some like, long-term veterans on the card too, so that's pretty insane. And I just wanted to ask too, just because we had this opportunity to have you on the show is, with so many new people coming into the sport and, so many people taking this seriously now and with a little bit more money coming into it, if someone is coming in and they're wanting to take things seriously, what is, that key factor you think someone should focus on when it comes to, progressing as an arm wrestler? Is it, just focusing on, traveling, going to tournaments a lot, just getting physically stronger with the training,
Yeah.
table time? Like where's your head at with all that?
So the biggest thing that I can tell people and from my personal experience, and that it kind of goes back to the John Brezink thing, is I mean, I used to do the gym. I used to do the gym a lot, and I still go to, work out and all that jazz. But nothing will replace table time. Literally nothing. And I'm not talking about practice, because practice is not table time. The more hands, the more people you touch, the more arm wrestlers you pull, you grow faster. And the reason why I say that is because no one person is alike. I mean, if you go to practice and pull the same guys over and over and over, yes, you will get better, but you get better towards them. You're not getting better towards everyone else. And one of my biggest things that I've always done over the years is just pull. And at a certain point in time, I was pulling once to twice a month, and I didn't get a lot of inner workouts and stuff like that. And I might do a workout here or there or practice here and there, but I was basically going to a tournament, resting up for a week or two, going to the next tournament, going to another tournament, going to another tournament. And that's how I was built, is through arm wrestling. And if you ask John, his same concept behind arm wrestling is pull. I want to pull as much as I possibly can, and that's how you build that tendon up in your elbow and your shoulder. And you can't replace that. No amount of lifting can replace the injury and the stress that you can put on yourself, through arm wrestling. And fortunately, I'm smaller, so I get to pull lots of more people than a bigger person does. So I benefit from that as well. Yeah, traveling and pulling people is probably the single best thing. And I mean, honestly, that's what it's all about anyways. It's not about going and pulling once a year or twice a year, some random super match. I've already been to, a tournament or one tournament already this year. Then I got this one coming up in February. Then I got another one in March. I got another one in April, another one in May. Every single month, all the way till the end of the year. Sometimes I have 2 and 3 a month, and I run my tournaments now. So, but yeah, that is probably the biggest single thing to success. And then going back to what Leif said, which I think is really hard to do in the beginning, but it is probably the best thing you can possibly do, is stay away from injuries. And, I'm retarded and I still keep pulling left-handed, even though my left arm gets hurt every single time, it seems like. But yeah, if you can stay away from injuries and still arm wrestle enough, that's the key. And pushing the limit to its limit without hurting yourself is probably the hardest thing to figure out with your arm. Like, that ability to know I'm going too far with a certain thing, that's really difficult. Even it probably took me 10 to 15 years to figure that out, where my right arm could be too good, and then I'm right there on the edge and I'm going to hurt it. Now, left arm, I can pull it once and it feels fantastic, and the next thing, the match hurts like hell, and then I'm done. But this one's more of a professional peg holder at this point. But the right arm, is pretty tuned in to where I know, like, I pulled twice in a row this week, in the last week, and I felt sore, and I told myself I'm gonna pull just because I need to pull. Practicing like that in Cody is not the same, even though it's just basically a bunch of dudes ripping on me for 3 hours straight. But then going to the tournament, I pulled against actual real matches and real setups and stuff. So that difference there helps. Now I'll take off the next week or two here, do a couple little blood flows, but I'll be ready to go for the match, just resting it,
Right. Yeah, no, I think all that's just really awesome to hear and great, because I do also kind of feel along the same lines. Is like when I lean more into training and I don't have as much time to get on the table, even though like my lifts might have gone up and I feel like I'm going to come back really strong, then I go in and get on the table and like something's just not right and I'm a little bit weaker here and there. The hand fluidity and like how you react to hand movements isn't exactly right.
Yeah.
So I do think that all really, really matters, and Leif, I wanted to ask too, kind of pivoting back a little bit. I kind of think I have an idea based off something you said earlier this year that where you might go with this. But say this match goes in your favor, and you end up getting the win. Is there a call out or a very specific person that you want to pull?
I think about it from time to time, but I don't know. I need to do more traveling. I just want to hit some of these. I kind of want to go down to Arizona and do that Arizona State tournament. But as far as call outs, I don't really have any. I want my left to be better. So I don't really know. Whoever Josh wants, and it's going to be a cool match or exciting match, that's what I'm into. Kind of like Corey too. I really don't care. It's not like I'm undefeated. I've been beat before. I'll pull anyone. I really don't care. I don't care if it's, I don't care. Whoever wants to try or wants to, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
No, I got it. I just remember hearing you say you wanted to, or you basically pre-called out Logan,
Oh yeah, left. Yeah.
So I would think that would be a really cool one, especially because, a lot of people, giving me hate in the DMs over predicting Logan getting the win on Jordan Sill. But I think it's going to happen. I know Jordan's a legend and I really look up to him as an arm wrestler and I've studied a lot of his videos, but I think Logan's got what it takes. I really do. So
yeah, kind of depends on which Jordan shows up. And I don't know, is Jordan's left like his right? Or is he known for?
It's
there's been times where it's been ranked higher.
Yeah, okay. And I wasn't sure, but yeah, that is interesting. I don't know who I hope Logan can pull it off, but I kind of give the edge to Jordan just out of his experience. I felt that power. I felt Logan's power too, but we've never had a go, me and Logan. Like we've always slow pulled, and I'm a terrible slow puller, so it's like I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting with that, like how certain people can not feel that impressive in practice, and then you get in a really ready go, and then it's just like, bam, like they're just 20 times stronger.
I'm not very good at practice, but
it's hard for me to get in the mindset at practice to really hit hard, so I understand that as well. But I also, because there's someone here in Montana that I really trust their opinion, because I think they just really know arm wrestling in and out, despite the fact that they haven't been in it as long as a lot of us. But Miles, Miles is a person who thinks that you could be number one on both arms in Montana, so, and technically you are on the right arm now. But Yeah, so definitely it would be cool to see you take on Logan for that left hand spot, 'cause I think Logan feels pretty ferocious, like at the Lil Bender. I was surprised to see him like hitting the way he was and how fast
Yeah.
he was moving.
So all the tools, all the God given gifts that guy's got. But
Yeah, I
man,
don't know, Corey, have you ever got to see Logan Anderson or grip up with him in person before?
I'm trying to think if I mean more than likely yes. I mean, I've arm wrestled a million people, so I'd have to see his face or a picture or something to remember. But more than likely, I probably pulled him at least one time before. I don't know when it would. Maybe it was in that Montana. Was he at the Montana one, the Miles City?
No,
no,
he's like our hidden monster. Like he only comes out for the arm bender. Like a couple years ago, he got hurt pretty bad, and it took him a while to get back into it. But he hasn't really traveled for the tournaments. But you know, he's just impressed everyone who's come up to him, and he's just built like, you know, like what Leif was saying,
Yeah.
every natural gift you would want as an arm wrestler he has.
yeah,
And after pulling with Brian, I would definitely like to see your opinion when you grip up with him, like if his wrist and his hand is comparable, because it literally feels like you're holding a tree when you're when you're gripping up with him. Like it's really insane. He's definitely not as tall as Brian, but he's just built so dense and thick, and his bones are just like insane.
Yeah.
So I would definitely like to see your opinion on if like just like the hand and wrist size is comparable, because this guy is just like, if you could just close your eyes and imagine the way you'd want to be built to optimize your arm wrestling career, like this guy,
Yeah.
he's built
yeah.
that way.
The sky could be the limit with Logan. Like, if he gets really good and gets some national recognition, it's who knows. I don't think it'll take very long to get real good.
No, I think that this match will definitely be a good showcase for him with Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, either way how it goes, but he was. And I know people have their opinions on RVJ, but you know he was getting the better of RVJ last year.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, and Corey, you know, saying that you get the win and you come back to the armbender next year, is there a person that like you've been really wanting to pull, or like a specific call out? I know you're again, like you said, you'll say I'll take anyone, but if you had someone that you really just wanted to, you know, whether it's like a revenge pull or just someone that you just feel like you
Hmm.
just need to kick his ass, like who would that be?
Well, yeah, well, it's like I told Josh, you know, like I'll pull anyone. I asked him to pull Therian multiple times, and Therian always ended up having a different match with someone else. And Therian and I have pulled once, and just to get him fresh for fresh, that'd be nice. But so maybe with him, they're up in that region. I don't know of someone exactly in the Montana region, but you know. I've been in talks with a couple other people trying to get Bishop or Hunter, but they've
Mm.
been avoiding me for the last 10 years. So, I mean, I doubt that'll ever happen. But, you know, it would be nice to pull people in my weight class for once, but there's not very many around willing to pull me. So it's always ended up pulling someone bigger than me, which is, you know, it is what it is. But Um, I just like to be challenged, I guess. I like to be the underdog, and I like to see what I can do and, you know, break people. And I think it's good for the sport because it gives people who are small a glimpse of what you could be if you just put enough effort and time into it. It's not arm wrestling is not all just strength, and there is a lot of technique and a lot of smarts behind of how you move your arm, why you go this direction, why you do this. And I think it gives hope to some of the smaller people out there that they can see a guy like me and who who's not from that background or a you know, a power lifter or super strong guy, whatever. But it gives them that ability to see, hey, I'm built just like that kid. He's 5'8", 5'9", you know, 175 pounds or whatever, and I could be just like him. So that's kind of my thinking. But yeah, as far as a person goes, I don't know. Basically, anyone Josh wants to throw at me, it could be fucking. What's your biggest guy up in Montana that I beat on before? The shoulder presser guy. What's his name?
Uh,
Ben.
Oh,
Clinton probably,
Ben.
or Ben.
Ben Brooks.
Yeah, Ben Brooks.
Yeah. Last time I beat on him, that was a while ago, and that was a barn burner where him trying to press me through the frickin' table. So That would look more David versus Goliath than this match will be, because he's like 7 foot tall or some shit. So
Yep.
yeah.
But one matchup I think would be really interesting, especially if you want to stay in the lightweight category, preferably now that we have him in the armbender ecosystem, because he did say in our interview a few weeks ago that there is not a single lightweight, in his opinion, that can challenge him, and you'd have to be at least top 10 in the 198s to give him a good match, and that is Cody Woods.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's high as a kid.
would you think that would be a good match, or do you think
Doesn't he walk
that
around
wouldn't be worth
100?
your
Isn't
time?
he 154 pounds?
He kind of varies, but yeah, he is. That's the class that he does make weight for. So, but he's very confident, and he said that like again, he said that anyone who's not at least top 10 in the 198 wouldn't stand a chance against his current
Wouldn't
form.
stand a
So
chance. That's a bold statement there, Cotton. I don't know. I don't know about that one, but I would gladly rip his arm off for him and give it back to him.
yeah, he is in the ecosystem now, and I think he's a really impressive up and coming arm wrestler. And I just think that would be a fun one to see, because it's like the veteran lightweight versus the up and coming, lightweight star. Like I think that would be really cool.
Yeah,
Because I think Cody's trying to kind of come in as a giant killer himself.
he's pulling Alexander, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. I think he's got his hands full with Alexander. Alexander's pretty fucking strong.
Alex is my dark horse for this tournament. Like if there's an underdog who's going to win, to me it's Alex who's got that capability.
Yeah, he's pretty impressive. I've been watching his stuff. He's no joke. I mean, Cody's strong and all, but that kid has wins and decisive wins on people that I know are pretty strong and should not be taken lightly.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Again, like I do think Cody Wood is crazy, and I think he's insane in his own right. Those 2 flash pins on Moronto were insanely impressive. But Alex, he's just one of those guys who, whatever it is that you need to be an amazing arm wrestler, whatever combination of genetic advantages that you can or can't always see, like he has it.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, he's got it, and his hand is just stupid. So yeah, I think that's going to be a lot better match than people give it credit for. And anyone who doesn't think Alex is capable, I think would be just poorly misinformed and doesn't have their eye on arm wrestling as closely as they probably should have. But kind of staying along the same vein too, Corey, I did want to ask, just because you're a promoter yourself, so you get to see a lot of poolers, and you've pulled everybody. Do you think there's someone who deserves a shot on a big stage like the Arm Bender, who's really good, and they just haven't gotten the chance to get that notoriety of a big super match yet?
There's a couple of people that are on that cusp, I would say, or they don't do everything right, but they do some things right, kind of thing. There's a couple I could mention that would probably be okay. I just don't know if they're ready for it.
Right.
I'm not known for doing well at super matches, and it is what it is because I'm a tournament puller. Everyone knows that, but there's a certain different aspect to super matches that certain people need to have, and I know that because I'm bad at them usually. So typically speaking, I would say there's about a handful of guys that I know that you could probably bring in, and lighter weight guys that would be good. But then there's a couple of bigger guys that I know. I mean, I'll just throw out one. So, uh, Garrett Reese down in Wyoming, he's left-handed wise. Garrett is really, really, really good when he's on the ball. But when he's not, then he's not. I mean, it is what it is. He has really good wins and he beats really good arm wrestlers, but then he loses the bad arm wrestlers. So kind of one of those things where a certain type of matchup for him works really well, and it's exciting. The other one is the kid out of Texas, the younger kid, John Shanks, a left-handed 176 kid. Again, has really, really good wins, but again, has some vulnerabilities. He's just like Garrett, and Garrett actually beat him last year in Colorado in a super match. But again, has really good wins. he's susceptible to certain things, but if you put him in a good matchup with somebody, it could be a good match because certain things won't happen. And I think that's a big part of promoting is figuring out matches and what different styles equal different matches. So like the Garrett match and John match was actually really competitive and it was really close. And as soon as it got to straps and stuff like that, where John lost a little bit of his power and he couldn't bend his wrist, then Garrett was able to beat him. So stuff like that might be like even that match again, a barn burner of that one again would probably be a good match. And they're two up and coming young kids that are really, really good. And John recently just beat Moranto, killed him,
Mhm.
wasn't even close. And but John's a lefty, and I know Moranto's not 100% lefty, but yeah, something like that, like putting John against or Garrett against Houston or someone like that would be a good one, just to have a known versus an unknown.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as a couple other guys, I mean, hell, there's veterans out there, but some of the younger, newer guys. There's a couple of Colorado guys. There's a bunch of Arizona guys that are pretty good, but it's not about. To me, these kind of matches that you guys are trying to do here, it's not about finding the best guy. It's finding the best guy with another best guy that match up well.
Yeah.
They might not be the number one guy, but this guy versus this guy equals a burner, and that's what you really want to watch. No one really wants to watch me smack someone 3 times, right? No one really wants to do.
Right.
They don't want to see that at all. What they want to see is somebody pull for 10 minutes straight and then their arms falling off and they still arm wrestled for the rest of the matches. So
That's why Michael Todd matches are so talked about.
yeah, even though it's ridiculous and everyone knows his arm won't go straight, it doesn't matter because they think it's awesome because he stands out there for 10 minutes and then you wear out and then he beats you with a shoulder press. So I mean that's what they want to see is that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it's if you can find those kind of levels of matchups like that, that's what it's all about.
And that's why I really love your website, and I'm really adamant with people whenever I go anywhere. I always make sure, like, hey, are you reporting? Are you reporting? Are you sending in your results? Because I think that's like one of the best ways to find. It's like when people ask me, it's like, oh, like what kind of super matches are you looking up? It's like, well, I go to Airs and I look at, these are guys in the range. I try to find someone like 15, 20 points higher, and then like, okay, that might be a good way for me to, prove that I've made progress is to beat someone just that little bit higher.
Yeah.
And, it's been a great, great tool. And I like how you guys, rolled out the, like the tournament kind of ELO too. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like know it's like, okay, this place is going to be crazy high level, so I might go 0-2, or there's that possibility, or this one is just like a small little local thing. It might not, um, you know, necessarily be the hardest tournament or whatever. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool ways to use the website that a lot of people are underutilizing at this point. So hopefully we can do another show in the future and try to push that out a little bit further as well. But Leif, I wanted to ask you a little bit different version of that question, just because I know you don't get out and travel as often. But do you have a dream matchup that you kind of want to see at the Arm Bender that we haven't seen yet, but you're just like, man, this would be a really cool match to have here?
Well, I don't know. Every year there's more and more interesting matches that I never even thought of, like this Alexander Groot, Cody Wood. I've heard of Cody Wood, didn't know anything about Alexander or whatever, but I've heard of Cody Wood and watched him pull and watched some of his videos, and it's like that's a pretty good shot and a real good pro there. I just want to see Logan pull more. I just want to see where his level's at, because then we kind of all base ourselves off of him, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just, it might sound conceited, but I kind of just worry about myself, and I don't know. Haven't really thought of a lot of matches other than mine and Corey's. So
Yeah. And I get that mindset as well. Definitely wanting to focus on what you're doing first. And it's hard to like really think
yeah,
out there like that when you have something like a really big opportunity like this. It's not every day you get a super match with someone like Corey. So I definitely get that. But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in seeing where Logan's ceiling ends up being. I kind of would like to see, even if Logan wins this match, it would be kind of cool to get Brandon Allen down against Logan, just so that way we can, like I just want to see him kind of like follow in the same footsteps of like where Brian's going right now and see if he's on that same pacing. Just because he is, again, like I said, he's just built so crazy for arm wrestling. I do want to see where it goes. But then before we do closing statements and stuff, one more thing again, I just wanted to take the opportunity since we do have you here, Corey. One thing that we talk about a lot when we travel around or when I get people on my podcast is, a lot of people as competitors, they feel like they have a hard time, you know, getting the matches they want or, finding places to compete where they think that they're getting a fair shake or a fair shot. And a lot of times what I tell them, and I kind of personally, get a little bit of hate in this because a lot of people think I get too many shots and too many matches. But one thing I like to tell people, and I wanted to get your perspective on it, is, as a promoter, I feel like one of the main reasons why I don't go into promotion is I feel like in arm wrestling, it's so hard to get people just to even like hit the share button or do something to help build the promotions or help build the hype around, tournaments or super matches, even ones that you're a part of and you want to grow and build into something that can be better for yourself in the future. But what I always tell people is like just not being afraid to put yourself out there, making bold statements, hitting that share button, doing something to get the promoters to like the fact that you're creating something that's hyping their event. So I just kind of wanted to get your perspective on that whole subject with the arm wrestling scene. Why you think so many people are hesitant or just like not interested in doing that, and what you as a promoter would really like to see people do to help you out and make your job easier.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with this one is that I mean I'm notoriously bad at this. Is promoting myself is hard. Like I'm not a shit talker. I don't come in and blast people and all that nonsense. And so it's hard for me to come in and talk like that to everybody. That everyone knows I'm just who I am. So, but I will agree that if you can come in and show an ROI to a promoter that by having me at your event, you have more people show up at your event type of thing, or you're going to get more pay-per-views or something along those lines. Yeah, of course, that is definitely promoters love to see that. Like this is going to sound stupid, but I call it the Tim Lewis effect, and Tim Lewis coming to a tournament for whatever fucking reason makes people want to come watch because they think they can beat him or whatever else it is, and he gets more super matches than anyone. I mean, he literally has I don't even know like 300 matches in the last year and a half from super matches. I mean, he doesn't even pull tournaments really, and why is that? It's not like Tim is the best left-handed in the planet right now. But he's pulling a super match every other weekend, and why?
Yep.
If you ask me why, like, I can't tell you why other than he gets people to think that they can beat him. They let him come in and he looks big and strong and, that's how it works. So, but if you don't have those genetic gifts, then you gotta do other things like promoting and Facebook and, you gotta help the promoter out somehow. And there's not a lot of money in arm wrestling, so it's any publicity is always a good thing. But, like, it kinda goes back to my whole thing before is that you will never get known, you will never get good, you will never get anywhere in arm wrestling without traveling and competing against everyone.
Yeah.
And, you know, like a lot of people don't know who Leaf is, for an example. They only know him from the Montana Armbender. I would almost assume that for sure. And that's not because he's not good, that's because he doesn't travel. And the soon as he starts traveling, I guarantee you he'll get invited to some match or something like that in Arizona or whoever will pick him up and it'll be sky's the limit from there. But, a lot of people don't have the means to travel and funds and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of, you know, give and take. But
Mhm.
the biggest thing is sometimes, like you said, you just got to put yourself out there. You got to go full ball deep in it and just go for it and let it rip. So, and sometimes it's okay to talk mad shit. There's
Yep.
been a couple matches where I got crazy, and I'm not gonna lie, that was back in the day. But nowadays, it's more of I'm just a very overconfident in my abilities, and I've been around long enough that no one scares me. I've pulled the biggest, the strongest, the faster, the I pulled small hands, big hands, long arms, short arms. I've done it all. So it's a more about, to me, it's like bringing me into the armbender is more about, well, if we just need to fill a match, fuck, give it to Corey. He'll pull him. He doesn't care. I mean, it could be some 400-pound monster, and I'm still gonna rip the guy's arm off if I can. So, and it will probably look awesome too, because this guy will
Yep.
be like King Hippo versus Little Mac, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I think a big part of what people don't get about promoting side is that the ROI is not there to have super matches. If I'm
Yeah.
running a tournament, what is the ROI by running those super matches? To me, nothing.
Mhm.
It literally is nothing but wasting time, and I'm not getting paid off of your matches. You're barely bringing extra people to arm wrestle. So unless you're bringing me more people to arm wrestle, you're buying drinks and stuff for my venue or whatever, then there's nothing. I just wasted time. That's all I did. So you got to prove to that person that, hey, by bringing me, I'm going to bring 4 other Texas guys, or I'm going to bring a crew of people, and they're going to have their friends and family show up. And that's what a promoter wants to hear. They want to hear,
Yep.
every time I go to a tournament, I bring my family with me, and then they bring forward other people. And by the way, my other family lives in this area that you're at, and they're going to come to it as well. So then that to them is, oh, you just brought 20, 30 guys to my venue. Perfect. Awesome. That's what I want to hear. So that's probably a big one that everyone kind of forgets, and they think like, I should be getting paid to arm wrestle. And I've been doing this for 10 years, and next thing you know, I need to be making money, and I get $2,000 to show up to tournaments. Why do you get $2,000 to show up to a tournament? You bring no ROI. You bring zero, like
Right.
$0 by you coming. And what, you get 3 or 4 more pay-per-views because you show up? No, that's not worth it. If
Exactly.
you're Devin Lorette and you're getting 20,000 extra pay-per-views because of it, yeah, then the promoter will pay you whatever the fuck you want, and you'll show up and do whatever you want. But there's only one person on the planet that can do that, and that's Devin. Everyone else can't do shit. So, you know,
I get it. I'm trying to see. I go down that shit talking route though myself personally. Like, I don't know if you remember, but I still get people who will message me after my losses because I got them so butthurt in that Super 64 group chat that we
oh
had
man,
when
yeah,
I did the 240. That when I lose, they'll come into my messages and they'll be like, "Oh, you got your ass kicked, blah blah blah," and like you still ain't shit or whatever.
yeah,
And I'll be like, "But you watched,
yeah.
you watched my match."
Seeing that
So
works out. Yeah,
yeah, so I think it does. And then I made a video drinking a bottle of maple syrup and talking shit to the Canadians, and now like every Canadian wants to pull me.
yeah.
So it's
I mean, that, as stupid as that sounds, it literally is like the way to make it happen. Like, it's gonna click
it
one day.
works.
It's dumb, but
Yeah,
it works.
it works. And like I said, I think that's key. Like if you want to start getting invited to places or get people to care, then just do something. If you're not like you could be like what you said, like yourself or like Tim Lewis, where either your physical appearance or your arm wrestling kind of speaks for itself, but there's 100 arm wrestlers on the planet that are probably good enough that their arm wrestling does all the advertising for them. So, you're probably going to have to do something a little bit more. And I also think that's what's really cool about the armbender. I think it's one of the most unique promotions in arm wrestling because of the fact that every single match, all 15 matches have their own sponsor. So every single match, and that's like unheard of in arm wrestling. Like not even East vs West has, I mean, I'm sure they get big money sponsors, but like not every single match has its own sponsorship, and every person gets taken care of in a way. And I just think that it makes the armbender really cool, and I'm excited to see how it grows. It's like this really cool, like regional. It's like the biggest event that no one's like really heard of yet. But I think that this year, with all these big names like yourself coming on, I think we're about to explode. And I think people, you, Leif, that like people are going to see your name out there now because you're pulling someone like Corey Miller, like, and that's really cool. And I'm really excited to see how this year goes, especially being the first year we're doing a pay-per-view. Lots of really cool, exciting things coming on. And if those numbers are good, even more sponsorships can come in. Because, what a lot of people don't know is some of these other big promotions like Knuckles Up or Mac and stuff like that. And I know I really look up to what they're doing there. I think they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. But, a lot of that comes, your payment as an arm wrestler is like exposure. And I think that's worth a lot in its own. And I think that there's a lot of us that are just motivated by wanting to see if we can beat someone, and we'll go down and pull for whatever. We'll spend a lot of our own money. But it is exciting that, Josh is finding a way to get sponsors into these and to get them even, at the local level. But I think we can only grow from here. And I think it can serve as a really cool template, because if the World Tag Championship can get 13 million views every time they post a video, like, I feel like arm wrestling can do better than that. And I think it has the potential to do better. We just have to get the right people into the sport. And I remember last year when we talked, Corey, you were saying that there were some exciting new sponsors that might be kind of showing their head, that might be bringing some real money in. So before we do, the last thing before the closing statements is I just want to see, like, if I can maybe pull a little bit more out of you in terms of that regard, if that's still a possibility, or if some cool exciting stuff along those lines is still coming.
I will drop a small hint of something. We do have a major refresh coming to the platform. New UI and everything coming that Frank's been working on diligently, and it has some new bar graphs, that progress bars and whatnot, and it's all clean and smoother flow, more unique to newer standards of apps and stuff. So that's a big one. The other biggest thing, in my opinion, needs to start happening more often is seeding of tournaments. And
Yeah.
TAL has a seeding. They've been using a seeding version of brackets for a while, all last year, I think, or halfway through last year. They're going to do it this whole year, and that's how they're going to seed each class into where you equal this because you are this rating type of thing. So making divisions, essentially. Once that kind of kicks on, where people start realizing that number, that Aries rating number, means more to you than the word pro, amateur, or novice. Once that can happen, then I think we're ready for stage 3, which is essentially going to be betting.
Yeah.
When I can confidently say you are a 1800 because you have X amount of matches, you pulled X amount of different people, you've competed in different amount of states, you've done all these different statistics that we keep track of, and I can say our confidence level and your ability is 100% or 80% or whatever, then statistically speaking on betting, that is easy. It's super easy.
Yes.
And there's only one system that does it, and that's Aries, and there's no one else that's going to come close. I mean, we have 250,000 matches in the system now, and 24,000 arm wrestlers in there over the last. It has matches for about 20 years now. So as far as the ability to do betting and to push arm wrestling to the next level, it is right there. It is. I just need the right person in the right room to show them what we have, and their mind's just gonna, it's gonna explode. Getting that right person to move me into the right angle, I think is where we need to go, and it will standardize the sport. It literally will standardize it, because no one's gonna want to go to the average Joe Schmo tournament that they can't get rated at. It's like video games, right? You don't play video games when you start playing like competitive games. You get rated and all that shit. So
Yep.
you don't want to play games that aren't rated, and you don't play them on purpose, because the rated ones can make money and all kinds of stuff. And so that's where this goes into effect, where now you're arm wrestling for a purpose. Then you're able to go to a tournament that has 30, 40, 60 guys at it, and the winner of that match or that tournament is betted on, and God knows how much money's in the pot. It's not just arm wrestlers anymore. It's fucking everybody over the world, because it's on some big platform, UFC kind of thing, and you bet on it. And, I might be the best one in the class, and I might have a plus whatever, but then someone else shows up and they're negative, and they win it out because of whatever crazy reason that happens in tournaments that have 60 guys in them. The 64s. We've
Yep.
And that's probably the biggest thing that I have to prove it to people, for a person who wants to come in to help us, is that the 64s, just the 64s, nothing else. The 64s were 87% accurate on ratings for seeding the class by rating. 87%. And if you go into a gambling situation and you say, I can statistically prove that these matches will be 80-something% accurate every single time, they're going to be like, that's dollar bills. Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Yep.
Because then there's no chance involved anymore, you know?
Right.
So any big time company that wants to put some money towards it would say, okay, well, you're going to provide us all the data, all the statistics and everything else. We're going to pay you a fee or whatever, and we're going to put it on our platform. But now we need everyone on board. Well, guess what? Everybody already comes to us right now as is. They submit all the results. Now I say, hey, well, now to be a part of this, to be on this big stage with us, you need to standardize. You need to be same weight classes, same divisions, which will turn into tiers, not division names. And then it will be all these different standards, the regular tables, and make it to where it's a legitimate sport, not just everyone has a random fucking table, Joe Schmo referees, et cetera, et cetera. It says you meet the standard or you're out of the thing. And
Yeah.
it's not, I don't even look at it like as a bad thing, because some people say standardization can be bad and you're forcing people to do certain things. But when the money's there, it doesn't matter anymore. When
Right.
everybody can make money rather than one person, Devin or someone else, make money, then that's what matters. I want to make everybody, you know, like Leaf wants to show up to a tournament, have 40 guys in his class, and have a chance at 10 grand. You know, he trains a lot fucking harder when there's $10,000 on the line every other month, and he can go to a tournament every other month with $10,000 on the line. You know,
Yeah.
this turns a little bit harder next time. So
That's a really good point, and because that's one thing I always wondered and thought if sports betting was our ticket in, because like I keep trying to think like a lot of other sports, they start their journey because they have a way to monetize like
yep,
through products or whatever, but we don't really have in arm wrestling, we don't have anything to sell like
no,
other than like basic stuff like shirts and whatever,
yeah,
and you're never going to make money off straps. I'm sorry,
no,
straps aren't cool. Like you're never going to do it.
nope.
So um yeah, I think that's awesome. And, thanks for, sharing that for sure, because I've been mulling over this in my mind for a long time. Like what's going to be the tipping point? And I think that, like what you said and what you've built
Like
is definitely
basically the Super
the
64.
key.
The Super 64 is a key market that could easily be reproduced, easily bet on, and easily come into, like we were, and that was self funded. Like Area's Super 64 was self funded, and you guys produced the money for yourselves essentially. So imagine one sponsor helping me get betting fully started and putting that same money behind it, but then you can bet on yourself as well and your friends and family and everybody else is like, you're going to do good at this? Oh, I'll place top 24. Okay, well, you place top 24. I'm going to bet to get you in the top 24. And you get all those crazy horse bets and shit going on. Fuck, you'll have 20 grand in the first one for sure. And then the next one's 40. The next one's a million, so on and so forth. And
Yeah.
then it gets really crazy real fast.
Days for a lot of people to actually make, that would be for that. But I'm really looking forward to this match. Like I said, for me and at least 18 other people that I spoke with, this was the hardest match to predict. So I think it's really exciting. It's really volatile. It could go back and forth, or it could, I guess, I could see it going literally any way a super match can go. So as we close out here tonight, starting with you, Leif, I just wanted to see, do you have any closing statements for your opponent and anything you'd like to say to anyone watching?
I want to thank Corey for taking the match with me. I know I'm a no-name guy, and I just want to go out there. Let's bang. Let's sell ourselves, and see how it turns out. I want to thank Arm Assassin Strength Shop. Lucas Raymond sent me some shirts and some training tools. Been utilizing them. Thanks to Devin Devin Bear for sponsoring our match. Right? Yeah. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that, Leif. And Corey, do you have any closing statements for your opponent or anything you'd like to say to anyone watching?
Yeah, so I look forward to the match. I mean, like I said, it's not the match I asked for. It's one I've been given, which is fine, and it's all good. I'm willing to pull everybody and anyone, so it is what it is at this point. And thanks to Devin for sponsoring. I didn't even know Devin was sponsoring until it was on the flyer or whatever, because I kept bugging Josh about the damn flyer. I've been trying to get the flyer out sooner, but Josh is, hey, you have something special on yours. Yours is special, and I'm like, okay, like whatever. But yeah, so I'm excited for it. Just to see what the armbender is really about, because I haven't actually experienced it other than, the watching it, because I've been watching every single one of them. I still haven't figured out the concept of why people put money out on the table, but I guess we'll figure that out. Maybe after the first or second match, I'll be able to figure out why do people do that, because I still haven't gotten that down. But
They just love it.
Yeah, great sponsors.
it seems crazy, but I mean, whatever floats your boat. I guess I'll have to start yelling and screaming or something, or run real fast. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I've trained differently than usual. Like I said, typically I watch and study a lot. I'll tell Leif right now that I've watched more matches of his in probably the last 3 or 4 years worth, plus our matches over and over and over. So I know everything and anything you're gonna do. So that's not good for you. And I've talked to all the people they pulled recently. So nothing's going to surprise me. Typically, it doesn't surprise me, but usually I end up surprising everyone else with something crazy. And this time, like I told you guys, I hope it's my hand and wrist strength that's gone through the roof, and we see something that typically we don't see from me. And we'll see what happens, here in 2 weeks, week and a half?
Yeah, we're really close now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you have to take a break for once to rest my arm.
Yeah. That'll be nice. But, thank you again, guys, for coming on. And big thank you to Club Dauntless and Devin Bear for sponsoring this match. Thank you to Josh Wilson for organizing the event, putting everything together. Like I said, I think what you're doing is really unique amongst arm bending. And I just want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time.